Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Mjengo podcast. We trust you had a wonderful week. On set is my colleague Brenda Ngoya, an urban planner. Brenda, where are you? Hello.
Hi.
Say hi to the people.
Okay. Hi, everyone. A reminder. My name is Brenda Ngoya. I'm an urban designer. I'm excited to be here today. Long time. I'm looking forward to a very insightful conversation.
And we also have Brenda Nyawara, an architect, and also with another hand in urban design and planning. So, karibu Brenda.
Thank you so much, Nahinga, and hi everyone. I'm looking forward to our discussion today on urban design. Over to you.
So karibu sana. I think Brenda Ngoya, you're at a better place to introduce the topic for today. We will come in with guns. So please bring it.
Yeah.
Or do you want to review the week first, or how would you want to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. We can review the week. I can introduce what October is as we review what has happened.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's begin with
So
your world. What has been happening in your world?
in my world, I think I'll talk more about Urban October. October is usually a very exciting month for urban designers, urban planners, because Urban October is an initiative under UN that is aimed to bring stakeholders and the general public to speak about urban issues. And there are two major days that people celebrate. That is World Habitat Day, which is celebrated every first Monday of October, and there is World Cities Day, which is celebrated on 31st October. So
They celebrate urban planners, or they celebrate cities, or they celebrate urbanization. They celebrate what? Because
World depends. It actually depends. It encourages people, organizations, and the general community to organize events and talks about around urban areas to talk about issues, anything about urban areas. But most organizations opt to start organizing something called placemaking. I don't know if you guys are familiar about it with placemaking.
you can help us to understand it. I think the general audience need to know what placemaking is.
Yes, placemaking by the way it sounds, just making a place somewhere people like to go. Like they choose plazas, streets, or a park, and they make it vibrant. So they involve the community. They ask the community what they want to do there, and they do maybe interesting paintworks, murals, and they can also host events. Maybe have people come and talk about the issues that that specific area face, or they can um, they can do maybe invite artists to perform just to encourage to make the place vibrant. Yeah, that's placemaking, involving the community in trying to see how the place can be a vibrant place. Yeah.
Perfect. And Brenda Nyawara, how was your week? What is on your desk?
Work-wise, it has been a busy week. I haven't seen much trending concerning construction industry. Considering this is a season that people have been organizing the conferences and seminars, I think most of the focus has gone into that. And of course, just this week, there has been a lot of talk about Urban October, the plans from different associations. Now we are looking at posters of events coming up, and that's what has been filling up the week so far. But I'm really excited because every year this happens, and I think this is one of the busiest month for activities on urban design in Kenya. For real, I feel like we should put such emphasis throughout the year. But I'm excited about the dialogue that's going to happen throughout the month.
That's interesting. So for me, so I run a community called Mjengo Hub. and I've been seeing increased inquiries, people joining, people being more active. And I think, you see, it takes another instinct for you to step out of your workspace and try to tell people, guys, show your work. And I do not know whether it is because of the training of the built industry professionals that we are shy to share our work. I don't know. But every other profession, if you look at musicians, they even build a podium. And then you mount it and you sing at the top of your lungs about the songs you created, even if no one likes it. But then that's how community building happens in the other professions. But our industry is quite different. I mean, an architect who designs houses every day, January to December, they will share like two designs of their houses
Yeah.
and hide the rest in the computer. And the Bible says that who lights a lamp and keeps it under the bed? So I don't understand that phobia we have for. So for me, this is more of a question to ponder. I don't understand why
Yeah.
people are able to show their work. Just say, I'm working on this. I hope it will turn out well. This is how it turned out well. Because people are struggling to find us. We are online, we are watching, but we are just quiet. We don't share information.
Yeah. That I agree.
I don't know whether you've noticed that, or are you equally shy like just the rest of them? I'm not
Actually,
one.
actually, that's something I've noticed. One, I'll speak about two things. One is a book by Austin Kleon that just says show your work. Just just the way you've said showing your work, like just show the process that goes into your work, which is so beneficial. People can learn from it, but also the way you've said how we are very shy in showcasing our work. I don't know if you've heard about something called pecha kucha, where people
Call.
come to pecha kucha.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm. I've heard
People
of
come
it.
Yeah, people come together and present their work in like 10 minutes. Like whatever
Oh,
you've been working on. Yeah, I think if people start organizing such events and
is it a
uh,
Japanese one?
Yeah,
yeah,
actually, it's Japanese.
Uh,
There's
so
a link I found on LinkedIn that was talking about how architects, designers, ideally should be salespersons. This was shared by a friend of mine. The way we focus so much on design and delivery on the technical bit, but we forget that a huge part of the start of any of our engagements, we have to sell the work. And a huge part of selling is talking about it or showcasing it. And they were even saying the fact that our products, as people in the built environment, are humongous pieces of production that is seen by everyone. So everyone's going to see your work anyway. So you might as well be able
and
to
then
sell it before everyone gets to see.
you've seen that cartoon where someone is looking at the museum that is made of aluminium foil, and they're saying, this man on the street is saying, why did they waste so much aluminium on this building? But the
yeah,
architect is speaking cult language and saying facades, what? This language is
Mhm.
inside a language that is now almost like saying pechakucha. You heard that pechakucha?
Yeah.
And now we are talking of urban October,
Yep.
celebrating urban something. We don't People don't know what exactly to celebrate. Just like Happy New Month. For the common man, it's Happy New Month. For the built industry profession, it's urban October. So
Mm.
let's go into the mystery of this thing called urban planning and what is related. Then we see how it goes. So Brenda,
yes.
take us to our first topic, please.
Urban October. I think I've done a bit of introduction of Urban October. Um, mhm. Maybe what do you guys think? What activities can be organized around Urban October, or have you seen any event that has been planned, or any organization which has planned anything around Urban October, so that we can talk about it? Yeah.
For
I
me,
think if I can go first,
okay, okay.
um, there are associations in the built environment that are constantly involved in this urban October. And then we also have UN Habitat in Kenya. For them, them being the ones who have really been pushing for this, the UN being Urban October being an actual not holiday, an actual activity that's taken month-wide year. I know that they're always supporting or always pushing for activities throughout the month to create awareness. And then I've also seen in the past involvement by even local governments, because Nairobi has been very active. I've seen even activities where we've had a street closed for a couple of days and artwork displayed and exhibitions and fun things happening on the streets. And I feel like those things are the ones that push up Urban October. So I've seen some planning happening towards the end of October that's going to have like a series of events. And personally, I feel like that's a very good way to bring on board everyone, because everyone is literally trying to put in their part for Urban October. So it should be exciting for urban design enthusiasts. That's going to be a very exciting month.
And I
Now,
think,
can I say something?
yeah.
So Kigali has this event they do, I think monthly. They don't do it for October, where the streets, especially in the major cities, are carefree, and then they clean up, exercise, and that is part of just the planners organizing events to raise awareness, so that at least one weekend in a month, people get to experience what does it feel not to prioritize cars. Because we normally say that if you build the streets or if you build your roads for cars or for for not for walking, for non-motorized means of transport, you tend to get more cars. So if you had a two-lane road and then you increased it to 4 lanes, what happens is that people somehow, I don't know by what law, maybe the planner can tell us, somehow the barabara fills up and now needs 6 lanes. So it was a 2-lane road and then you increase it to 4, and now people somehow get triggered to acquire cars or to use that route since, okay, they feel the road is wider. So I think urban planners are not clearly communicating that a month like this would be ideal to push the agenda uh, for people-friendly streets and cities. Because can you imagine if we had even 3 out of the 4 weekends to be the CBD to be careful, you know? So that when you are in that space, you realize actually I'm experiencing less stress, there's less honking, and people get to sit even and occupy the street, not in the sense of protest, but in the sense of being. Because we have been on fighting mode for so long until the word occupy now has been taken to be right. Yes, you
Yeah.
could just go on the street. I mean, we used to go to the man used to go up for Macmillan Library, pick a book, you sit on the stairs. Until now, things started being also student study. I mean, now we say all the reading must happen inside the library, you know? And then you have to be checked whether you are. So the point is, culture, if good, reasonable people don't intervene actively to change culture, it will not change. And it will not change by just saying, okay, now it is the urban October. I will tell you happy new month. Then everyone will think that
Actually, actually, there are some things that usually happen during this time.
okay.
There are group of organizations, specifically maybe I think NGOs, that came together to form a community called a placemaking community, which organize events during this time. And I attended last year's placemaking week. Oh, they create something called placemaking week. So I
Okay.
attended last year's placemaking week where they redesigned they did designs for River Road, and before
Yeah.
trying anything, they went to the community there around the business people, the Matatu circle that park there, and asked them, what do you want this to have? So according to the suggestion that the stakeholders involved gave, they went and did design, then presented it to them, and they did a bit of demonstration of what they want the streets to look like. So happens during this time. I don't know what planned activity has been planned during this 2024 placemaking week. For
But
sure,
I have a question.
mm,
Almost all the public parks in Nairobi are under lock and key.
mm,
Okay, the other one
Mm.
was dedicated to dead heroes. The one at Uhuru Gardens was dedicated
Mm-hmm.
to dead heroes, and the
mm,
one at Uhuru Park, they put there some dead locomotives. I think an old plane and an old matatu, and then they locked it.
yeah,
And you're saying
Uh-huh.
there are some people organizing some event in some corner so that that place will also be locked, or did I hear my own thing? The point is, how can a city be without free libraries and free
Mm.
public spaces where you can access unhindered and uninspected? You
Mm.
see, these places are not public spaces if you cannot access them unhindered and uninspected. Okay, they should be
yeah,
places where we say they are third places, that
mm,
between your home and your work, you don't need to go to the church or to the bar. You could
mm,
have these third places where we could even have an outdoor gym or a seat or benches or fruit trees. Or fruit
mm,
trees. I mean, why can't we have fruit trees? Even at Uhuru Park. I mean, the point I'm trying to say is, why
Uh-huh.
have we locked up? Why are we doing this urban October event in the periphery of places that are locked up? Wagari Madai street hapo ndani ya hiyo park for Freedom Corner, and you are telling
but
me some people are picking leaves in Nairobi River and saying, oh,
then
yes,
okay, I'm trying to kutetea the community because I think I've been participating in several. These events are usually public, and they
okay,
usually encourage anybody
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
in a public place like a road. They put
Mm-hmm.
posts to say like, oh, this is what we envision this street can be. So it's not something that has been done on the corner.
okay,
It's something that they involve the stakeholders around. I think there was a time, the 2022 one, if I'm not sure, they did something under Nairobi River, and
Mm-hmm.
they put a long poster of Nairobi River and how it looks now, and they invited people. There are place marks, sticky notes. People could come and comment on how do you want to see Nairobi River in future.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did a cycling around Nairobi River just to showcase the potential of what Nairobi River can do. So yeah,
If I
it's
could, if I could, let's say maybe the bit I understand about what Nahinga is saying
mm,
is that the activities that you're bringing out, Brenda,
mm,
they are organized and it's almost like a one-off that happens once a year, once in 3 months, once in a week, if any. And Nahinga wants them to be daily life. If it's
yeah, yeah,
the river to have something of recreational activity, he wants it to be available daily, where in the evening after work, you're heading to the river. Or if it's a park and there's a festival, because we've all seen, is it Nairobi Festival? There's something that was organized. Very nice, very beautiful. I even went. Very nice. But it was a one-off. The park was closed afterwards. Yet
yeah,
I want to be able to go to a festival on a Saturday afternoon and not
mm,
have to suddenly have to pay, because not all Nairobians can easily pay for something every day or weekly. But
mm,
then let it not be in October, that's when we have these events, or once a month, when placemaking week or slum dwellers want to put together an event. Can it be something of a daily activity? Is it sustainable, Brenda?
a lot of planning goes into this activities. So it's not a sustainable thing that can be organized throughout the year. But what we can do is, what if we design our places to suit these activities to
Mm.
fit in our third places? Because I think there's somebody complaining that nowadays in Nairobi, if you don't have money, you can't access anyone anywhere nice. Because just like how David has said, all the good parts have been closed, but we should be open
Mm.
also. So you have to have money to
Yeah.
access that place, which is not nice. Now people are flocking into roundabouts. If you go to Roysambu, there
Oh,
TRM,
yeah.
people are
Mm.
using. the third places because there is no other places people can at least chill and just enjoy the sun or sit under a tree. Yeah.
So there's a point I keep repeating, and it is this. It's called the 3 minute rule. And the 3 minute rule says that if a park or a public space or a church or whatever is 3 minutes away, 3 minutes away from where people live, the
Walking.
distance overwhelms the need. Okay, you're like, no, I'm not going through that sun to that place. So what
Mm.
we need parks everywhere. So
Yeah.
when Brenda Ngoya says there has been a lot of planning, there's zero planning. There's zero. The fact that there are no parks everywhere means there's zero planning. Unless you mean planning in a diary, the way you write, I'm doing this today at Madina or something like that. There's no, there's about Nairobi. The rating for Nairobi in terms of urban planning is towards 20 or 10. It's non-existent. Because even the little that it had has been taken away. You know that thing
Question.
that, yeah, even the little, and even the river that's there is littered to the brim. The one they wanted to
Question.
build 40,000 new. So there is no urban planning that's happening in Nairobi. Okay?
What if
And the only
what if
salvation we have, the
hmm,
only salvation we have is that the urban planners need to organize themselves and say, this is the rescue plan for Kisumu City, this is the rescue plan for Bungoma City, before they copy the mistakes of Nairobi. Because that is a city that is on its deathbed. Okay? You buy an apartment and and you see, sometimes you must consider how much energy you need to undo a mistake and ask yourself,
hmm,
is it worth your time and effort? So for
hmm,
me, this idea that people wake up in the middle of October and say, it's now urban October, and we're going to pick some leaves in paper bags at Nairobi River, and now we feel good that we are now.
Yeah.
No. We need to say, look, we need to reach out to
Mm.
the public sector and private sector and then say, look, you guys have a budget, okay? And all the budget for Nairobi for urban planning is used for planting some grass in the middle of the highway. That's where all the money is spent, okay?
Yeah.
And then putting cabro, cutting trees, putting cabro and allowances. So the thing is, there is no urban planning happening to control, first of all, the unmitigated destruction of trees.
Oh
Now,
my God.
one last point.
hold
There
on,
are
hold
three
on.
things that are very important to a human being. There are three things that are very important to a human being: houses, trees, and people. Now, let's look. Housing. What is happening in housing? Everyone builds as they like. In fact, we are using the wrong example. We should not even be mentioning this Nairobi in this conversation. Now, housing is a mess. Let's talk about trees. What is the fate of trees in Nairobi? What is the fate of a tree? Assuming it had a conscience to speak, what is the fate of a tree in Nairobi? They are destroyed as places.
Mhm.
The third thing is people. Are people happy? Are women happy to walk in that city? Are children happy? Can you let a child walk across one street in that city?
Mm. Mm.
It's very unfair because you get the logic. So if you can't make a city safe for children and women, and you're locking
Mhm.
up the parks, they are under padlock, and then the man in charge of the whole scandal, let's call it a scandal. The man in charge of the whole scandal is saying that we need to organize disco there at some point. So you lock this place for 365 days and you pick 5 or 4 days for disco. And then what?
Yeah.
Now,
Agreed. I want to I want to hear Brenda's response when you say there's no urban planning, because in my opinion,
Yeah.
I think there has been so much documented and put in paper, and so many regulations already put in place. It's the physical implementation that's missing, because we
Okay.
can't really say Nairobi has no parks. There are
Yeah.
various levels of parks. There's the large, huge, humongous acres of parks, and then there's the small spaces that exist within our neighborhoods on the street as well. Where there's a bench, that's a park where you can actually sit and relax. It's just that maybe it may not look like a welcoming space.
Yeah.
And if we say, like, a blanket statement, let's say there's no housing. I mean, we are living somewhere.
It's
There's
chaotic housing. There's
it's
chaotic
chaotic,
housing.
yes, but there's attempt at least to make it better. Maybe the approach can be improved. But then if we're looking at how what suggestions can be made for, let's say, if it's a better park or better green space or better housing. I mean, you can say urban designers are the ones who are pushing for it, like the likes of Brenda.
We are trying to advocate for these plans to be implemented.
Yes.
We can say no urban planning is happening. A lot of urban planning actually is happening. There is different sectoral of urban planning happening, but specifically the implementation part is not happening. I think we spoke this in a couple of episodes. Like urban planning and design space is so political in such a way that if your ideas doesn't match with the current political person who's in charge, the ideas can't be implemented. So we have brilliant urban planners and designers.
Are
Yeah,
you saying if you invite me
just
to
not
your house?
implementing the plans. I really wish I could give you
Are
these
you
recommendations
saying,
that we made.
are you
Yeah.
saying if you invite me to your house and there was a lot of planning to cook mandazi and there was chapati, but there is no implementation.
Yeah, that's where
There
we
is no
want.
there was no
But
cooking.
we can't say like there's no urban planning happening. Like there is, but
Yeah.
there is bureaucracy and no political will that is able to
Mm.
facilitate implementation. Yeah.
You judge a city by
Mm.
you judge a city by streets, by parks, by livability,
Transport.
walkability, air quality. Those are the things you use to judge a city. You can judge a city by plans and
I
ideas
think
and a bureaucracy that is paying.
another thing you are supposed to judge a city by how it tries to accommodate its children. You mentioned that also. Yeah, if a children is if a city is safe for for a child, it means it will be safe for everybody, including the disabled people. So yeah.
In 1980,
Yeah.
1980, there was
Mm.
a proper bus transport system. You could put a child in a bus in Buruburu, akuje shule Nairobi CBD
Mm-hmm.
at All Saints or wherever the school is, and in the evening you could wait for your kid at Buruburu and you will receive the kid because the system was working. Okay, try put a bag or a cat and let's see whether that cat can be found.
But in 1980, there were less than a million people, maybe, who lived in Nairobi. Like I think some of the hindrances have grown with the city, and as you can clearly see, maybe governance could not keep up. Because personally, I cannot even blame, let's say, professionals or the associations in the neighborhoods for the things that have happened wrongly. Obviously you'd blame government because we pay our taxes and we pay our land rates to government and expect them to give us those services. So they were not able to keep up. And it's obviously because lack of goodwill or the willingness to do it. Because if you really see, for example, how cities in other countries have grown because the governor or the mayor, their main agenda was
Hello?
Is it my internet or
I can hear you.
oh you can hear me? Okay,
I can hear you. Maybe
I'm fine.
maybe just to bring maybe just to bring the point that I was trying to say.
Mm,
So Bren Angoya,
yeah,
look, this thing we call urban planning, we have overcomplicated it. Okay?
yeah. Mm,
It is almost now like central planning. So we have overcomplicated it. And the logic is this. You have a group of professionals who say that this is where the city needs to go, these are the plans, and everybody sticks by the rules. So that is formal urban planning.
yeah.
Then there is this other process where a person who is homeless decides this is the sub street, this is the main street to get to my small hut that I have made from my own self-conscious process. So what is happening is that the people who are doing self-conscious urban design and planning are the people who are carrying the keys and the padlocks and the money, and they are shaping the city, while urban planners are planning in their head.
Yeah.
You get the logic of what I'm saying? Or you're back, Karibu.
Oh,
Thank you.
I've added a spanner in the works. I'm saying, Veda, uko pamoja?
yeah.
Yes.
Brenda Nyawala, you're on.
Yes, I'm back on.
Okay, I'm adding a small twist to the conversation. I'm saying that there is the formal urban planning process, which is the textbook case, where we say this is the city plan, this is how it needs to go, this is the number of floors you need to build, this is where the streets need to be, this is place for bike lanes and all that. It's done by very few people, few urban planners, the ones with the title. And then there are these people who have their own private spaces, and they define the linkages between those spaces and the other neighbors' places and their places of work. And these are the majority urban planners. But they do the planning through a self-conscious process, vile wanajisikia. And these are the
Cartel.
people who carry the
That's what
money,
we call
the
cartels.
padlocks, and the will to do. And they're the ones who have truly shaped the city. Because if you go and ask the man cutting a tree in the CBD, by whose authority are you cutting this tree? Atakwambia nimejisikia nikate naenda kuchoma makaa.
Yeah.
And that is your urban planner. They are many. We say in the West Africa, we say the ants weigh more than the elephant. So the urban planners that are formal are the elephant. Slow, big plan, hey, they are the elephant in the room. They take all the blame. But the real people who are shaping the urban spaces in Kenya or in Nairobi are
That's
the
true.
people
I
doing
have a
urban planning
question.
through a self-conscious process. They say, I want to do a flat, and they grab a public road and they do a flat. The Chinese have formed their own association, Big Developers Association, and they are shaping Kilimani as we speak through their own self-conscious process. They build what they want to do.
No, I think sometimes, okay, we are blaming urban planners, yes, but I think also the decisions of urban planning have also gone largely to other parties. Like
Remember,
Kenya Power just cut down trees in the city, all over the city, on their own authority.
The definition of urban plan.
Huh?
I've increased the definition of urban planners to include all those people perpetuating planning by their own will. I've increased that definition because the more we keep blaming the elephant, the more we keep having the elephant in the room. So we need to talk to the real urban planners, the guy who shows up with the power saw at night on Wayakiwe and cuts 10 trees, brings the lorry, and he's gone. No accountability. And you remember,
he doesn't deserve the title. I think it's just someone who makes a decision, but they don't really deserve the title of urban planner because an urban planner would know not to cut the trees and would work around nature, right?
Yeah.
And then also, when you're saying, let's say the Chinese are building and whatnot, they were given approval by the city. No, they couldn't have put up the approval.
But the residents, what is the reaction of the residents? Are they happy? Why are they coming
Okay. I think I have a point on this.
Okay.
I think what we might want to do is instead of training a lot of urban planners, yes, we should try and start training city managers.
Yeah.
Because if urban planner has the skills of trying to place things where different land uses needs to happen, urban designer has the skill of trying to make the appearance of the city look nice, but who is going to manage all these resources? So I think that's where we find the disconnect. Most of the people who manage this thing have no knowledge of managing a city generally.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, the ones who make decisions, ideally, historically, we've had mayors and city managers and city planners city mayors, managers, governors, coming from an urban planning, urban design, and economics kind of background, not political the way we now have. So they would understand how to streamline if it's approval systems, if it's about greening the city, transport system. But then if it's left to the hands of a politician whose background can easily be any other profession, they would not prioritize the urban feel of a space, of a city.
Yeah.
So is there hope for this city? Is there any hope?
Yeah, there's always hope. Always sending hope to people, like hope. One thing I like to say, we have a very brilliant professionals, very brilliant, and
Oh yeah.
these us professionals will wake up and try to maybe run for office if you have to, and try and manage the city ourselves, or get somebody with a political goodwill who understand how urban planning does. Oh, there were rumors that Kakamega was able to develop in the previous regime because the governor Oparanya had urban planning skills. That's why Kakamega was able to come up real fast and have a rapid development. So if maybe we can fit that to a political regime, maybe we'll be somewhere in a few
So,
years.
so for me, where the hope lies is not in saying the brilliance, not to refer to the brilliance of the urban planners. I'm not saying they may be brilliant or not. But what I think we need is the danger of a good example. The danger of a good example. Whereby someone lives in one city and they go to another city and say, I want to go back to that city because there are urban planners there. That's why that's why I keep saying that I need to find maybe all urban planners in Kenya and sell them this idea that they should push people, private people. Of course, this people think, oh, there are no private solutions to public problems, but the same people in the public solving problems are from the private sector. But the point I'm trying to say anyway is we need to convince a critical mass of urban planners to encourage people to own small private parks, 3 minutes distance from each other,
That I
where
agree.
people live. And you see, if we can manage to get that through, what will happen is it is the same way now we have encouraged people to open bars and churches and mosques and these other privately owned public spaces. Because a church, a mosque, a disco is a privately owned public space.
Yeah.
Seeing how governments are stiff-necked and stuff with people who also have warped thinking. They do the unthinkable, you know. So we need to look for private-led initiatives
Yeah,
so that we
definitely.
have a proliferation of small parks. Like my first ambition does not need to be to own a house. My first
Actually,
ambition can be to own a small park.
Actually, about parks, we don't have to think about maybe acres and acres of parks. We can just start by looking at our roads. If there are small spaces along our roads, we can have pocket parks along the roads. So
Yeah.
people can access to this pocket parks. Okay. So, maybe under Urban October, I wanted to maybe for us to speak about what do you guys think about participatory design, because this is what Urban October tries to bring out, involving the general public to try and make decision about our space, how we want our space to be. Previously, I think a lot of urban designers and planners have been thinking cities as like they've been designing spaces like their gods without trying to consult the whole general public what they want. And now there was a participatory bill that was passed, and I think that's the best thing that has ever. Maybe you guys can comment what has ever happened. I think it makes sense to go to the community and try to ask them, what do you want on this space, instead of trying to force your ideas to them.
I like the idea of participatory design. I absolutely do, because I think if it comes to urban design, the person who lives there is the one who knows the issues they face, and they're the ones who are likely to give a solution. But this participatory design has to also be guided, because even just yesterday, I was in what you can call a community outreach kind of empowerment exercise that allowed the people to actually identify urban issues and give solutions. And when it came to identifying issues, they could easily articulate them from a point of what they see and what they observe. When it comes to solution, that's why you realize it has to be guided by, let's say, professionals like us who have been trained, who have also been exposed to how many solutions can work. I also know very well that sometimes the public may not be right when it comes to giving a solution.
Yeah.
And the public may not agree to the correct solution sometimes. And by correct, I mean they may see the harsh implications at this point, where, let's say, and I'm not saying it's right, but for you to upgrade, let's say, a park like Uhuru Park, you have to close it
Yeah.
first for a couple of months to renovate. For you to build a new road, there has to be, like, all the extensions being cleared out. There has to be demolitions, and you have to kind of chase people away from the road reserve. So some decisions can be made by the public, but some really have to be like an iron fist, where you have to make a decision on behalf of the public. I know
Yeah.
Nahinga will not agree. Because
Yeah.
power to the people always. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I want
look,
to hear what
you're
Nahinga is.
leaving, you're leaving this thing at the mercy of
Yeah.
people who have destroyed the urban fabric. Look at the
Actually, no.
largest, look at
Honestly
the largest
speaking,
people who have been allocated money to even just create pedestrian paths. What do they do? What do they do?
no.
You need, there's this thing called proof of work. Eh? If we're going to allow you to control a process, we need to have some level of confidence, not just cosmetic, just that because you have a position, then now you qualify to direct the process. Now, let me say how this can be done. And it's going to be a framework. It's different so you see, look, there are things called jobs you want to do. There's a book by somebody called Ulrich. It's called Jobs to be done. And in that book, it gives a framework of how you can solve problems. And for
Yeah.
example, when you look at public parks, the way you do it and the way you do it to have the greatest number of responsive public participants is you ask people, what jobs are you trying to do when you visit a park? Someone will tell you, when I visit the park, I go there to read a book.
Yeah.
Then you create a reading nook at the quietest part of the park. Then you ask another set of humans, what job are you trying to do when you visit the park? And they'll tell you, since I do not have work, I take a break there on my errands when I'm job seeking. So, if it is Uhuru Park, let's take it as a case study. You install there the longest public seat in Africa. You install there from one end of the park to the other end. So that when people who are looking for work in the city want to have a seat to sit and to reflect on their life or philosophize, they have a place to sit. So that's how you have this catalog of needs. So once you have this complete catalog, and I'm saying complete catalog because you will have people who will say, I like to go there to enjoy a moment with my girlfriend or something like that, or to have a picnic. Once you have that complete catalog of the jobs people are trying to do, then you prioritize them, and then you include as
Exactly.
many of those jobs in that part.
Yeah.
Now, when you can't fulfill all those jobs in that one small part, because
Yes.
there's people who want to sell anointing oil and heal others, and others want to raise the dead. All those are jobs people are trying to do in that public space.
Some will even want a club in a park, and it doesn't
And
make
do
sense.
it. and
Yeah.
do a concert. Some want also just to go there and protest, and celebrities also want to go and
Exactly.
plant trees. I say when I was in Kenya, I planted a tree at Freedom Corner.
Mm.
So
Which
what
is
you have
okay.
to, pardon?
It's okay because I feel that's a space for the public. They should be able to go there and do all that there.
Yes. Yes.
So now the question becomes, who will direct this process? So within the city county,
Mm.
we need to have a department
Mm.
that will direct this process. And this department needs to be somehow autonomous and fully connected to the people.
I don't think we need a whole department for this, because
Okay.
also urban planners and designers are thought to be advocacy for the people, to do advocacy work for the people. We are supposed to go to
Mhm.
the people and ask them, what do you want, and try to bring the ideas into existence. Just the way you've said, on need basis, we say, oh, what do you want to do in the park? Then try and
So
design
you
around them.
see,
Yeah.
Brenda, we,
Yes.
we work we work under bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Will you be leaving your house to go and do this public participation? You see, today
Yeah.
the country is trying to impeach someone,
Mm.
and they mobilize resources to publish a form where you can sign and put your name and ID number and return to the sender.
Mm.
It costs, how much money do you think it costs to publish that form in all leading newspapers and circulate it in the whole republic? Now,
Mm.
these urban planners, these intelligent urban planners that you speak well of, from which corner or hall will they be emerging to go and do this public participation exercise? We need to
Actually,
vote. You
there's
just
some
imagine.
projects that are structured like that. They're community-based project. You have to
You
ask
ask
the
people for money. These same people who are protesting taxes. You ask them to give
yes,
you money
yes,
for
yes,
public
yes.
participation.
I've been
Yes.
privileged to be part of
No.
such a community-driven project where we were developing a green infrastructure plan. I don't know if I'm allowed to even speak about this, for a community. And we went to the community. We had several workshops with the community, and we asked, what do you want? What are the major problems that you guys faced? So under the problems, they raised flooding as one of their key problems. So we sat with them, we talked about how can we solve this, and we taught them about nature-based solution, how we can use nature-based solution to solve stormwater, to manage stormwater issues. And they bought the idea. We
But was it funded?
designs and
Was it funded? Was it voluntary work or was it funded?
it was funded.
And it was structured, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was. So
So
my
what
point
I'm
is,
saying,
my point
I see
if
where
it is
he's
about
going with this.
so if it is not funded and if it is not structured and if there is no
It would
clarity
not
of what they
happen.
have, it will not
yeah,
happen. It will be a
That's
cosmetic
true.
exercise. It will not happen.
yeah.
That's how Nairobi was destroyed.
Mm,
5 years ago, we did a master plan for Uhuru Park.
mm,
From our corner, that thing I'm calling a corner,
mm,
we were not funded. It
mm,
was not implemented. It was plagiarized and it was used as a tool for looting.
mm,
So what I'm saying, if you come with those colorful ideas, or you go
Mm.
and collect it in an intellectual center like the university, you collect the ideas, you are
mm,
simply wasting the intellectual capital of those students. Because
Mm.
yeah.
one, you do not compensate them for their knowledge. Two, these public spaces will never see light of day. Three, someone will use your proposals to put cabro everywhere. You know, we are also living in a cabrocracy, where
Mm,
every blank public space is a candidate for
Pavement.
cabro.
mm,
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cabrocracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
mm,
they tell you they shared photos of the classrooms where they paved all the way to the door. The thing is, good ideas in the hands of bad people will never
yeah.
see the
Yeah.
light of day.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
need structures that can accommodate good people and interfere with authority. Then we can volunteer good ideas with those good people that we know that this one we will
Mm.
run with it. If we do a vegetation
Actually,
plan,
let me address the part where you said good ideas, good people. There
Mm,
are actually urban designers, urban enthusiasts who have tried to bring changes to cities before, and they ended up being enemies of the people because of their ideas, which sought to almost go against the grain to improve a city. Because if you ask the layman, to him, Cabro is an advancement. Cabro is modern. He wants to see more Cabro in Uhuru Park so that when he walks, he's not walking on grass, not realizing the grass in Uhuru Park is why it's a park. If it was Cabro, then might as well walk in the tarmac on the opposite side of the road.
The branches of the trees and put
Yeah.
metal giraffes and something. And old aeroplanes and a matatu. It's insane. Good ideas will never see the light of day if they are in the hands of bad, powerful people. Bad, powerful people will
True.
never allow good ideas.
So, Nahinga, we can agree that the issue is not urban planners. The issue is we have bad, powerful people.
Yeah.
Right?
The issue is we have an unstructured way of living. That's why I say it's a self-conscious process whereby we are experiencing the madness of each and all simultaneously.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow you don't know if someone is going to grab the road you use to go to work. You don't know. And you don't know the apartment that you bought, if someone will build an apartment next door that will block your right to light and air. And even passage, if you joke around, they'll demolish it. In fact, they are building their thing while your perimeter wall is falling, they're still building. They're cutting trees while you're screaming. I'm telling you, it's insane. So the urban planners, the bad urban planners have invaded the city. And now I think we are devoting too much time to this unworthy city. Can we talk about something else that people can go and implement? Can we talk about housing? Housing, the place of housing.
Yeah.
Because remember, we say there are three things that are important in the life of a human being. Trees, people and their place in the scheme of things, and then housing. You spend 70%, actually almost 80% of your time either in a building, working, or playing, or having fun or playing. You see, it's a lot of time. So, what would be our view now on urban housing or rural housing, or can we shift gears a bit into that topic of housing?
Housing. Yeah, definitely. About housing,
Because there is now, right now we have the affordable housing program.
affordable housing. Yeah.
Some people are saying it should have been a social housing program. There is a difference between affordable housing and social housing. The
I think
skeptical people like me are thinking these houses are actually not really houses. These are prisons. They are prisons disguised as houses. And what's going to happen is that when we have a high rate of delinquency, we will allocate some of them to the prison department and use them as cells for people. Because they are inhabitable as beings. Okay?
I mean, I hear you.
So they
I
may
hear
not
you.
because if something is not affordable, okay, if
Yeah.
something is not affordable and is not nice, it doesn't attract me to live there. But you have a shortage of prison housing.
first of
Okay,
all,
that's true.
are these affordable housing really affordable? Who?
They are not.
Let them
Affordable is relative. Affordable
Yes.
is relative. And I think the government, and I'm not defending the government, but they put it very clear on where the price range is compared to what the market is currently offering. And of course, social housing is the way to go, but then the government has chosen the track of providing what they deem as affordable housing. And the fact is, they're already rolling it out.
They say
So,
they are not affordable houses, they are jobs.
yeah. Okay,
They are
yes.
jobs, houses.
Yeah, and they have created some jobs, some, but us as professionals now, the reason why I would very, very much be involved and pay attention is the fact that this is now our turf. I mean, you're doing construction and you're putting money into it. So I may not be in control of housing levy or how it's used, But I definitely want to have a say when it comes to the construction space. These buildings going up to budgets of 5 billion are coming up. So yeah, we must have a say. We must actually influence it.
Actually, we can't all blame this affordable housing to the because it's we professionals who are designing these prisons. Can we
No,
get
Mhm.
the professionals that are designing this affordable housing to
Mhm.
try to make these places livable for people instead of
but
designing housing?
the profit motive will not allow. I'm a
Mm.
quantity surveyor.
Mhm.
If I'm building a house at 60,000 per square meter, 100 square meter of a house will be 6 million. The way for me to
Mhm.
make more profit as a developer is to
Mhm.
shrink the thing that is consuming the money, which will reduce the cost of construction. So I make the house 32 square meters so that
Mhm.
the 20, the 28
Mm,
is part of my profit. So that's what's happening. The developers are shrinking the number that is making them spend more money to build a unit or a house. So this
Mhm.
thing has been left to the profit motive. And the
yeah.
profit motive will never be generous to the customer because there is what is called shareholder value. You are trying to maximize return for shareholders. So look,
Yeah.
we are using a private instrument to solve a
Mm.
public problem, and there is the problem of the agency problem. There's the problem of the private man trying to target
Mhm.
the highest profit at the least cost. In fact, at the expense of the public.
Yeah.
So basically, the equation is not working. So what we are doing is we are designing one tiny house and then multiplying it by 3 million,
Mhm.
and it is a
I do
problem
have a
that cannot
question though.
be, and it's a problem that cannot be.
Oh, I
Oh,
think we've lost him.
yeah.
Um, but the question I was going to ask him is the
Mhm.
government really seeking to make a profit or surplus from it? Because the whole idea of them being able to achieve 40,000 shillings per square meter, which they were even targeting it to be lower, was because they have the power of scale. They can do 1,000 units per block.
Yeah.
And then they're not seeking to make a profit from the sale of these units, which means they can easily, if for lack of a better word, undercut the market and provide housing at a cheaper rate, trying not to make a surplus of profit. Because if the surplus of profit is added on top, then it's no longer government providing housing, it's government being in business. So, I mean, I would want, I'm curious about that because, yeah, if there's a profit made from it, is it then plowed back
What
into
is the
services?
equation? The
Uh-huh.
government is trying to become a big.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, what is the equation on the what is the developer's equation? It is cost plus profit equals selling price. Then that
Yeah.
selling price, they take my housing levy, deny me disposable income to make my house better. Then
Mm.
subsidize for a guy who cannot afford. What? Who does? I can ask that popular question. Who does the
But
thinking?
their target wasn't really the guy who cannot afford. Their
No,
target is
look.
someone,
If
their target is
if
someone who's already paying the rent at that level. If it's 15,000 per month, their target is someone who can pay the 15,000 per month to own the house. So they're not really targeting someone who would not be able to pay the rent.
so, you're solving an income problem by creating a debt burden. You see, if I cannot afford ab initio, I cannot afford this thing ab initio. So you tell me,
Mhm.
let me saddle your back with a loan for the next 15 years, and you will still not be able to afford it because when another government comes, there is also the other underlying issue of ownership and sanctity of title. And you have already seen a prophecy. We say in philosophy that small events are prophecies of the big events that will come.
Mhm.
What is the prophecy that came last week? What is the prophecy that came last week that touches the sanctity of title? That this title deed number, serial number, this to this serial number, this. Mjipangi. So how sure are you that if you are buying this land, you will not meet a gazette notice in the year of the Lord 2044?
That's valid.
Yeah.
number this, because small events are prophecies of big events. The big things you have today, you knew they were things 10 years ago. They gave you the prophecy. If you see a man stealing names, it's a prophecy already. You can already see the prophecy fulfilled. He's wearing a striped cloth in Langata Women's Prison, Dioio Sasa. You can always see small events are prophecies of big events. So today, last week, we had a prophecy in real estate. And the prophecy says that you can never be sure that your title is yours. The government has published that ukona pesa. They can publish the serial number of that note and say that that money is no longer money, or that title is no longer title, or that marriage certificate is no longer that paper represents an existent marriage. And beware your marriage does not exist. Just by stroke of a pen, title deeds can disappear, currencies can disappear, money, paper money, and now even marriage certificates we are not sure for those of them who are married. We are not sure whether those marriages will still be there or there'll be another gazette notice. This is the thing. So if you are going to buy those houses, you must allow for that political risk. I don't know whether it's a political risk or it's the risk of a scandal happening in the near future. We don't know if it's political or economic risk. How do you
I would be curious.
allow?
I would be curious if legislation would be changed or adjusted to accommodate that bit, because there was also a question of, if this is public land, how can someone have a sectional title deed to land that doesn't even belong to a private entity? Because if it's public land, you can't have a title deed to a public land. But then
this is financial engineering. This is what we call financial engineering. And these are not housing products. These are economic products. These are economic products. The thing you create is a thing you create like Pythagoras to calculate the area inside a triangle. So that's what we are doing. We are saying that if we can take money from Paul and Peter and then declare some titles as lost, eventually, if the title is lost, it means the house that has been built on that. If the title is lost, it means the land that has been built, the house that has been built on that title, on that piece of land is also lost, isn't it? How do we know this will not be the fate of these houses?
I see it.
Speculation is higher.
Yeah. The bottom line is these housing units are needed, and the market alone cannot provide it. It just so happens the government is the one who's able to provide such at that rate, and if they attempt, then let's polish how they're attempting it. Then whoever it is who's able to be in a task force or a committee guiding the Ministry of Health, then let them be able to give all that insight, because clearly it's a disaster that needs to be mitigated, and let's at least make an attempt to mitigate it.
You know, one of my favorite philosophers, Seneca, says, "Beware the barrenness of a busy life." Are we being too busy but barren at the same time? Because if something doesn't make logical, if something defies logic, how do you sell it? How do you sell it? Because the economic operators are expected to be rational people in the market, and they are making choices, and the choices they are making reveals their rationality. So if you cannot explain something in a coherent manner, that look, the equation is that due to this technological advancement. So look, there are many inputs when you're building a house, okay? There is the professional input, which you're rightly saying is needed. Agreed. Because of deciding the size of the space, livability, affordability, and all that. There is the technical input. Then there is skilled and unskilled labor. So when you automate a process, it means you are trying to play around with the labor input. Okay? Then there is the material that goes into the building of the house, like 70% to 80% of the cost of the house. Now, if you're not compromising in one of these things, you will get the right fit. Okay, product market fit. The product fits the intended market. But if you go and you compromise on the intellectual and architectural and professional inputs, what will happen is that you will still build a house, but you will have used the intellectual output of one professional and multiplied it by 10 million. So when you build 10 million houses, are there really 10 million houses when it's one house multiplied by 10 million? So that's what I'm saying, that because they are compromising, it's a thing they are doing for love of shortcuts, because they are compromising the thinking part, we are going to have the solutions that don't really solve the problem. And I want to just quickly give you a good example of a story from India. There's a time they had snake infestation in the city of Delhi, I think. And the government came up with a program and said, we're going to give you several rupees or money for you to, if you trap a snake and it comes, we will pay you for trapping a snake. And people realize, if the government is paying us for trapping these snakes, because the city has been infested with snakes, why don't we domesticate the snakes? So people started domesticating the snakes because these are economic operators, they are rational people. If I'm trapping and I'm being paid money for trapping a snake, why can't I do it so that I can have 50 snakes, I will be paid 50 times.
Yeah.
And so the people bred the snakes, and the government ran out of the money because there are problems you cannot solve by throwing money at those problems. Because they are thinking problems. They are problems that need thinking. They need rational thought. And they need error correction. You need to correct the errors in your thinking so that you can
Nahinga.
accept the next method of solving that problem.
Yeah, yeah,
You can
yeah.
solve some problems
You
with
have
money.
waited to give this story.
So the government ran out of money. And the people said, yeah, you ran out of money, but your word, we will hold you accountable. So we are releasing the snakes 10 times because we have
Yeah.
already raised them, we have already incurred the cost. So now the government had run out of money and it had multiplied the problem 10 times.
Okay.
So
I
there are
think with
problems
that
you
we'll
cannot solve.
now start having our closing remarks.
There are problems you cannot
That
solve
story.
just by
Nahinga
money
story.
because they are not money problems. They could be problems that need you to change your thinking and to change your ways.
Yeah.
But
So you need to
let me even
consider
just
that
give a
because
let me give a rebuttal to Nahinga's story, even as my closing remark.
Mm.
Yes, every solution that you bring on an urban front will always cause other problems that you have to solve. Like it's a continuous problem solution kind of process. Urban design, there's no way you'll bring a solution that really solves everything. In fact, the one that solves everything now introduces more problems for which you have to keep on working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
So,
agree.
yeah. Also, as part of my closing remarks, is I
I have
see what
said
happens
something,
sometimes we design
Brenda,
things with
Brenda.
a plan B. We have our ideas, but also we design the ideas in case our first ideas fail.
Mm,
Yeah.
agreed.
Mm, any closing remarks from you,
Please don't
Nahin?
end the show, please. My friend. Please don't end the show fast. Because
Okay.
Brenda Nyawara,
Uh-huh.
Brenda Nyawara, Madam Architect, you said something about problems and problems, solutions creating problems. So, hello,
I think
please come back so that you can hear. Brenda,
maybe her internet. Yeah.
yeah. You have internet at your end,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah,
I
I
want
can
you
hear
to
you.
I want you to search this quote,
Yeah,
by
let me do
by
it.
Karl Popper, Karl, then Popper,
I
Karl
don't.
Popper, Karl Popper,
Mm-hmm,
Karl,
mm-hmm.
then Popper is a philosopher. Type that name and then type the word uh, problem, problem children. Type the word problem children. This is the response to Brenda, and I don't know where she's disappeared. And because I want to read this quote, because all our problems come because of lack of knowledge. They are knowledge related. And solving one problem and encountering another means you are on the right path. You should now solve that problem, child, and that grandchildren problem that will arise when you solve the second order problem. Okay?
Yeah.
So
It
the
it
quote
says it
says,
helps set him straight sooner rather than later.
Brenda, it's good you're back, eh? Here
Yeah.
is a rebuttal to your rebuttal. Here is something to counter the logic that when you solve a problem in urban spaces or in whatever field, you will encounter other problems. That means you're on the right path because then you will be solving second order problems. And when you solve second order problems, they will generate new problems, which we call grandchildren problems, which you will still need to solve. So problems are inevitable. And all suffering comes from lack of knowledge. And the way we are solving problems in Kenya is by taxing everybody into poverty and mediocrity and uniformity so that the strong are all equally poor like the weak. And then we throw this money at problems that cannot be solved by throwing money at them. So let me read the quote so that we settle this once and for all. This is Karl Popper, the philosopher, whom I love. And this is, he was doing work in the field of the theory of knowledge. So he says, I think that there is only one way to science, or to philosophy for that matter, to meet a problem, to see its beauty and fall in love with it, to get married to it, and to live with it happily, till death do ye part. Unless you should meet another, unless you should meet another and even more fascinating problem, or unless indeed you should obtain a solution. But even if you do obtain a solution, you may then discover to your delight the existence of a whole family of enchanting, though perhaps difficult, problem children for whose welfare you may work with a purpose to the end of your day. That's the attitude. That's the attitude.
Wow.
Not throwing money at all problems. Just fall in love with that problem and use, if it's not against the laws of physics or against the laws of logic or against the laws of science, if it is not against those laws to solve that problem, you may actually not need money to solve some of these problems that we are facing. The
Yeah.
only problem is that there are people hiding, there are thieves hiding behind the problems. So, but when we throw money at the problems, they can pretend to solve the problem while stealing the money. And that's the problem. It's
Creating
an
another problem.
unsolvable. That is the unsolvable problem. The unsolvable problem is the thug behind the carpet, stealing the money, while allocating money to Cabro, stealing the money. That's the problem. And that's an unsolvable problem because that's someone who
Yeah.
put it in jail. Because that's greed. And it's type 2 greed. There's type 1 greed, which
Yeah.
generates economic activity where you're trying to make a profit. Then there's type 2 greed, where you're like, you want to own the whole world, but you can't keep it.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Thank you so much for the podcast. So, urban planners, architects, please, there are problems you can solve without money, and there are problems
Yeah.
that you need money for.
Low
So
hanging
let's go
fruits.
there. So we're on the same page, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or have I come too much?
You have a point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So we end
Okay.
it there today.
Yes. With that.
Okay, asante. Have a great week, please, guys. Have a great
Yeah.
week. We'll meet again some other time. Asante.
Thank you
Brenda,
for
thank you.
having us.
Thank you,
Fall in love with
Brenda. Thank you,
problems,
Nahinga.
Yeah. Yeah.
or you'll run out of money. Fall in love with problems, solve them, or you'll run out of money.
Definitely.
Those are
Or
the
create
questions we need
problems.
to solve. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Create
God bless
problems.
you. Asante.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.